Okay, scientists, I have my data table here ready to go. If you don't have a sheet like this, that's okay. You'll just need to make a table with the columns labeled salt, sugar, sand, and then trial 1, 2, 3, and then average time. We will be averaging our sets of data to come up with the average time it took for these to dissolve or not to dissolve. So we are going to take our water and we are going to put each of the materials into the water to see if it dissolved or not. If it does, we'll record the information. If it doesn't, we are going to record up to 4 minutes, and if it doesn't dissolve by then, we will just put 0 or did not dissolve in the box. Okay, so I am going to start with salt. And I have my salt. Now I do not have a measuring spoon, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill up this spoon flat with salt, because each time I'll need to make sure to put that much salt. And I'm making a mess on the table, but that's okay, I'll just clean it up later. Okay, it's flat. So now I'm going to pour it in. Take a minute to observe what you see in that water. Okay, now I'm going to stir and I'm going to start my timer. Now, it's important to have a clear container so you can see along the side. And I'm stirring. I still see some salt in the bottom. It may be hard for you to see mine, but you can try this at home. Any container, some water, room temperature water, and salt. And let's stop it 30 seconds. So I'm going to record that on my table. I'm going to pour that water out, rinse it out because there may be some water still in my graduated cylinder. And I'm going to fill it back up the same amount. And I had it at 100 milliliters water. So here's my clean water. I'm going to reset my timer, fill my spoon up, okay, pour it in and start my timer. And stir it. And watch it go. Oh, there we go. That's at 31. So I'm going to record my data for trial 2, 31 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and do trial 3, and then I will average my time. Okay, scientists, I did my other 2 trials with the salt in the water, and I came with 23 seconds for the second trial and 20 for the third trial. So my 3 results were really close together, but I want to find the average. Oh, I didn't do my sketch. So I'm going to first draw my beaker, and I'm going to write 100 milliliters because that's where the water was. And this water looked sort of foggy. Now that's hard for me to draw with just a pen, so I'm going to label it foggy water. Okay, I'm going to label this as my beaker. So now I'm going to do the sugar. Oh, before that, I want to show you about averaging my data set. So when you find the average, you're looking for a number that is approximately, generally, how many seconds it lasted. It will fall somewhere between the lowest number and the highest number. And let me show you how you do that. So you need a calculator or your great brain. I'm going to use a calculator just to be quick. And you first add up your set of data. So 21 plus 23 plus 20 equals, I have 64. And then you're going to divide by however many numbers there are. And here I added 3 numbers, so I'm going to divide by 3, and that equals 21.33333. So I'm just going to round it to 21 seconds. So that is my average. So now we're going to move on to the sugar, and I'm going to do the first round of data with the sugar, and then we'll do the first round with the sand or dirt. So I have my timer ready. I have my big bucket of sugar. I love to cook and bake. Okay. I'm going to get my measuring spoon. And I'm going to just scoop it right in, shake it right off, and as soon as I dump it, I'm going to press start on my timer. Oh, do you hear Jack in the background? I think he wants to go for a walk. And ready, go. I'm wondering if this will dissolve faster or slower than my salt. What do you think, Jack? I still see some. I wonder if it's going to dissolve. It's dissolving, but it's definitely taking longer. Oh, we're getting there. And stop. Okay, so I'm going to record 38 seconds here. I'm going to go ahead and do my other 2 trials, do my sketch. I may take Jack for a quick walk before we do the sand, but I will see you back here to do the sand. Okay, scientists, I did my other 2 trials for sugar. I got 35 seconds and then 40 seconds. I did my sketch. Something that I noticed is the water with the dissolved sugar was pretty clear. It wasn't as cloudy or foggy as it was with the salt. But they both did dissolve. The sugar took a little bit longer than the salt, but it did dissolve, and it was dissolved in an average of 38 seconds. So let's do our last one, our sand. I have my 100 milliliters of water. Let me get a teaspoon of sand. Dirt, I use dirt. Be careful, try not to get leaves, little pebbles in it. Okay, let me get my timer here. And we are going to time it and dissolve just until it dissolves. And here we go. So I'm stirring. I wonder what in the salt made the water cloudy, whereas the sugar water was not cloudy. They both did dissolve. So below, one of the things scientists do is they record observations as they do an experiment. And that might be one of the experiments, one of the observations I record, that they both did dissolve, but the water was cloudy with the salt, but clear with the sugar. So I'm at 47 seconds, It doesn't look like much is happening. I'm wondering if this is ever going to dissolve. Remember, I need to go up to 4 minutes. I'm going to stop the video, but I will keep stirring, and I'll see you back here if it starts to dissolve or not. Okay, scientists, I'm going to show you how to set this experiment up and how to work through it. And then if you're not able to get the materials, you can watch the next video where you can follow me through doing this experiment. So, like I said, you need a beaker of some type of measuring cup, and we are going to start with room temperature water right there. You need some sand. I just found some dirt from my yard, some salt, and some sugar. I got these from my kitchen, but you could also use salt and sugar that you might be able to find at a restaurant or a coffee house. So what you need to do is I am going to fill my beaker up with 100 milliliters of water. There we go. Now remember, we start with room temperature water. I got this water out of my faucet and just let it sit for a while because the water was actually rather cool when it came out of my faucet. And then we are going to start with salt. I pulled out a teaspoon out of my drawer. If you don't have a measuring teaspoon, you can use a regular spoon and then put the sugar or sand in it and even it out so that you always use the same amount. So I'm going to do that with my sand right now, or my salt right now. I may spill a little. I'll try not to. Whoa. And you know what? I'm going to use another beaker I have here, because just like I said to do with the spoon, I want it nice and level, so it is level. Now what I'm going to do is before I pour it in, I'm going to get a stopwatch ready. Here I have my phone, which I'm going to wake up really quickly, and it's ready to go. I am going to pour my salt into the mixture and then start the timer and stir it while the timer goes. So here I go. This is 1 teaspoon salt in 100 milliliters worth of water. So now I'm stirring it until I notice all of the salt dissolved. It's getting close, actually. It's good to have a clear container so that you can see the side, through the side of the container. And stop. Now my timer goes to tenths and hundredths of a second. That's that 51, but I'm just going to focus on the full seconds, and that is 21. So I'm going to record my data here, and then I'm going to go through and do the next two. You'll do the same with the sugar and sand. At the third trial, make sure you include a sketch of your observations, and then there's a space at the bottom to find the average. And I will show you how to find the average in the next video. So go ahead and do the other 2 trials of salt, your 3 for sugar, and your 3 for sand. And remember, we're testing to see what materials dissolve. So if one of these materials do not dissolve in the water, the max amount of time you're going to stir it for is 4 minutes. And so if it doesn't dissolve, you will write did not dissolve in whatever space that it aligns to. So enjoy this investigation and get testing.